Good morning, everyone. It's Vicki Matthew here, certified life coach, founder of Happiness Republic, and this is Sunday. Happy Sunday. Welcome. So check it out. I talk to myself like a lot, out loud. I love it. I've talked myself into some of my coolest ideas, if I must say so myself. But it's not always like that. I've also talked myself out of some of what may have been some of my coolest ideas. Um, Everybody talks to themselves, right? So let me ask you a question. When you talk to yourself, what kinds of things do you say? For me, I am an outgoing introvert, so I like to talk. I like to be social, but I'm also very much inside my own mind, and I really like it there. I have full on conversations with myself. Sometimes I replay a conversation that happened earlier, and I go over it again in my mind, and I replay it exactly the way it went. And then other times I'll replay that conversation, and it'll like have a little bit of a different outcome, one that's more pleasing for me. Or sometimes I will be preparing for a conversation I know I'm going to have in the future, and I'll just replay the conversation in my head, and I say all kinds of things, and I like doing it because it helps me come up with ideas, and it helps me work out solutions. And I even, when I'm coming up for the content for this show, I actually just walk around my kitchen and sort of have a conversation with myself about this conversation about myself was a self-talk conversation, but this is what I do. That's how I get all the content from up in here into like onto there. I talk it through, and I used to think that it wasn't normal, the amount of talking to myself that I did. And to be honest, I have no idea if it is normal, and I don't really care because I like it. I like talking to myself. Talking to myself is, like I said, how I come up with content, how I work through my problems, how I come up with solutions. And talking to myself works for me as a way to be productive. And it charges me up. I actually charge myself up. I encourage myself, and it's pretty sweet, except for when it's not sweet. You see, I am a human being, and every once in a while, I'll have a bad conversation with myself where I spew out all kinds of nasty things like, no one's gonna like that. No one's gonna like that, Vicky. If I've written something and I'm not really sure about it, I'll just be like, no one's gonna like that. Or that's not original. That's not original. That's one of my favorites. Ha, that's sarcasm. Or you can't do that. You can't do it like that. Nobody does it like that. It's crazy. It's like I'm trying to block myself for no reason, right? Except that there is a reason. It's called fear. Fear that I don't have something valuable to say, or fear that I'll say something wrong, or fear of rejection, fear that nobody's going to like it. Can any of you guys identify with what I'm saying right now? Here's the thing. We need fear. Fear is what protects us when we're in danger. The problem is fear tries to protect us even when we're not in danger. And so that one thing, fear, will actually stop you from doing everything good that you want to do in your life if you let it take over. And so, since the only people in the whole world, on this whole planet, probably the whole universe, who don't feel fear are sociopaths, I have to come up with a way to deal with my fear through the way that I talk to myself so that I don't block myself from accomplishing the things that I want to accomplish. And so I'm going to tell you how I do that. But before I do, I want to get real, I just want to give you a little bit of my reality when it comes to self-talk, because I'm all about getting down to the root of an issue and really solving it from the base so that we don't have to deal with that issue again. And but I don't really take the same approach with self-talk, because right now, if you just like do a Google search right now of negative self-talk or overcoming self-talk, you're going to get a whole lot of results. And a lot of them, or at least a good handful of them, have got like 5, 6, 10 step processes for eliminating negative self-talk. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, having to go through a 10-step process for getting over negative self-talk would be enough for me to start saying nasty things to myself. Like, that's just too much. It's too much work. So I have, for me, a far simpler approach to negative self-talk that works for me to help me get over or help me keep my negative self-talk at bay so that I can keep moving forward towards my goals. The most important thing is that you better recognize it. Literally, recognize 2 things. Number 1, recognize what you say to yourself has a huge, like Bernie Sanders style, huge impact on the outcome, okay? Your thoughts become real. So that's number 1. Recognize that. It's important. And number 2, recognize when you're saying things to yourself that you don't want to say, that aren't actually helping you get any closer to your goal. And now, shaking my fingers. When I say recognize, I mean recognize, like notice, okay? You don't have to analyze, you don't have to evaluate, you don't have to figure out why you're saying what you're saying. You don't have to relate it to somebody. Oh, it's because my mom used to always say this is my dad, it's my ex-boyfriend, this is my friend from school, this is the neighbor, this is media. Like, none of that. Stop it. Like, don't even go there. It's too deep. Just recognize it, number 1. And then number 2, once you've recognized it, then do or say something different. That's it. That's it. So now I know what some of you might be saying right now. You're saying, Vicky, I've been saying negative things to myself for a really long time. Okay? It's not that easy to change. And I'm like, I know. You're correct. Yes. It's not that easy. Like, your brain, if your brain is programmed to criticize, you're going to have to reprogram it. And it takes time. And it takes practice. It's not easy. But it's simple. And it's possible if you practice. So recognize it, number 1. And then do or say something different. So, for example, if you ever say something to yourself like, you never get anything right. Recognize it. Don't tear yourself up. Just recognize it. And then say something different. Like, try to say instead, oh, you know what? I didn't get that right. I'm going to try something different. That's it. That's it. Or maybe you say, you know, you're going to fail at this. Recognize that. Recognize that you've just said something pretty negative to yourself. Don't need to tear yourself up. Just notice that you've said it. And then try saying something like, you know, I'm really looking forward to this. I have no idea how it's going to work out. Let's see. Right? Something a little bit more positive. You got to get over the fear. Fear is the reason that we're alive, right? But don't let it be the thing that kills all of your great ideas. What you say to yourself really, really matters. Okay, guys? And so now I would love to hear from you guys. What kinds of things are you saying to yourself that are blocking you from moving forward with your goals? And what are you going to start saying to yourself instead? Put your comments below. I want to hear them. And I'm going to continue this discussion in my private Facebook group, LIPS, LYPS, Live Your Purpose Sister. And so if you are a girl boss or a wannabe girl boss who wants to make a huge impact on the world, join the private Facebook group now, LIPS, so that you can get in on the conversation. And if you like this video, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, Happiness Republic, and share it with your friends. And you can also stay up to date on my content on my fan page, Happiness Republic, or follow me on Instagram. I'm Happiness Vicky. That's it for today. Can't wait to hear all of your comments. Can't wait to have you join me over in Lips. That is it for today's episode of Sunday Happy Sunday. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.